Howdy folks, and welcome back to my World of Tanks replays with the mighty Jingles. And if there's any tank in the game that is more jingly than the Chaffee, I don't know what it is. Little greeting in Chinese there, the Type 62. So here we are. I think the Type 62 driver was Spanish actually, not that it matters. Yeah, here we are on steps, it's an encounter battle. Chaffee Tier 5 light tank. Tier 8 game. Some relatively lenient matchmaking for a Tier 5 light. And I love this tank. I just cannot get enough of it. And it's got unique looks. I think it's cute. I know a lot of people hate that second turret, and I must admit I think the first turret does look better, but I don't hate the second turret the way a lot of people do. It just adds so much character to the tank. And it is really just such a cute, tiny little bulldog of a tank that, how can you not love it? Now what the Chaffee is very good at doing is passive scouting. And that means doing this. Moving forward to a vantage point, forward on the battlefield, sitting in cover, deploying your camo net, and just watching the enemy tanks roll by. Now it's kind of important, and this is why they call it passive scouting, is that you don't shoot, because passive scouts that shoot give their position away, and Chafees that have their position given away and are immobile are dead tanks very soon, and a dead Chaffee is no use to its team. However,
looks like that one went right through.
Sometimes you just can't resist it. I mean, I figure I've done my spotting job here at this point, and it's time to start getting stuck in. Now, the Chaffee isn't a very good active scout. The T50-2 is an amazingly good active scout.
We nailed it back.
The VK2801 is a very, very good active scout, but the Chaffee and the Type 62 are better at passive scouting because they just don't have the speed of the other two Tier 5 light tanks. But that doesn't mean you can't use the speed and manoeuvrability of the Chaffee, because, I mean, while it isn't as fast as the other two, it's certainly not slow. And I think I outstayed my welcome behind this rock now. Here comes a Jagdpanzer 4. So it's time to go and see what we can do. And this is the point where the Chaffee gets really dangerous. Halfway through the game, when the enemy tanks have all been beat up, the Chaffee spots them for the first half of the match, does what damage it can, while careful not to take hits itself, and then you leap out and you start savaging the wounded.
That's gotta hurt.
And the gun on this thing is so good. It doesn't have the same rapid fire as the 57mm or obviously the 37mm on the T50-2, but it's so much more accurate on the move.
That's gotta hurt.
And the trick to driving this thing, as with any light tank, is not popping up in the same the position that the enemy team expects you to be. Oh, unfortunately that wasn't it. Right now, T28 prototype, I can so beat his reload and his turret rotation. And with a little help from my friends, he's dead too. Took one hit, can't afford to take any more. Pretty much the entire enemy team is all corralled down there, just south of the capture point. And, ooh, this will be a tricky shot. Yeah. Nah, there's not nearly enough of his turret shell for me to hit that. Oh, Tiger P. Oh, he's looking at me, he's looking at me. Get into cover, get into cover. As long as I can beat his gun on his first shot, I can totally kill this Tiger P.
That's gotta hurt. Enemy is hit.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's gotta hurt.
Halfway through the game, you pop out and you start savaging the wounded.
Enemy is hit.
And there isn't a better tank in the game
Penetration.
for doing that than the Chaffee. mean, the 57mm is this full gun on the Type, not the Type, on the T50-2 is technically more accurate. It certainly is more accurate. When you stop and you aim, it's a more accurate gun. But for accuracy on the move, this thing just can't be beaten. Oh damn! Just missed that ISU.
Bounced off.
Come on, boys, help me out here. There we go. Oh, I love this tank. And it's hard to do well in it. I mean, it's hard to do well in any of the Tier 5 light tanks, or the Type 62 Tier 6 light tank. And it's certainly not for everybody. Driving light tanks is definitely an acquired taste. And, you know, we didn't get a single kill in that game, but look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's passive scouting for you. Oh. And even though, you know, I mean, we only damaged 4 enemy tanks. Oh, we put some serious hurt on that Tiger P. And nearly killed the SU-8. But, yeah, even though we didn't actually do that much damage ourselves, 23 shots fired, 14 at the target, we took a hit. Fine, we can live with that. But look at all the tanks we detected. Narrowly missed getting a scout badge. And we didn't do it by driving straight into the enemy deployment zone, lighting them all up in the first 40 seconds of the game, like you see so many T50-2 drivers doing, and then dying uselessly before our artillery has even had a chance to move into position. We did it by playing sensibly. Because you can't do that in the Chaffee. It isn't fast enough. You have to play it sensibly. And 50% of all of the credits and experience that our team gets for shooting at these little buggers here goes straight to us. So now the Tier 5 light tanks, they don't earn money. You very, very rarely run a profit on one of these things, even with a premium account. It's just the way they're built. But look at the experience. Even though we only damaged 4 of the enemy tanks, because of all of our friendlies who were shooting at all these guys that we detected, that's doubled, but that's a 1200, nearly 1250 experience badge for not doing an awful lot other than spotting and harassing. And that's why I love the Chaffee. It's just so much fun, and it's so satisfying when you get a good game in it, because the amount of trouble that a well-played scout can cause to the enemy team is just out of all proportion to the actual damage that it does. It's just so much fun to play when it works out. It doesn't always work out. You can't always rely on your team to take advantage of, you know, your spotting. And sometimes, you know, if you get a crap team, you're going to get a crap team. There's nothing you can do about that. All you can do is provide the opportunity for your team to do well by doing your job well as a scout. And I am more of a fan of passive scouting in the Chaffee and the Type 62 than I am of active scouting in the T50-2, because I'm just not very good at it. I'm old. My reflexes aren't nearly as good as they need to be for a T50-2 or a VK2801 driver. The Chaffee and the Type 62, they're more my scene. So that was the Chaffee the Tier 5 light tank, the American Tier 5 light tank, having a really, really good passive scouting game, and then halfway through rushing out and savaging the wounded on steps in an encounter battle. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed playing it, and I'll catch you on the battlefield. See you next time.